Most people believe that being good at math or science requires a special kind of brain, one that you're either born with or you're not. But A Mind for Numbers by Dr. Barbara Oakley proves that this simply isn't true. Anyone can become better at math, problem solving, or analytical thinking if they understand how learning actually works. Barbara Oakley's story is proof of that. She flunked math and science in high school, joined the army, and learned Russian instead. But later in life, she decided to face her fear of numbers. She retrained her brain, earned a degree in electrical engineering, and became a leading researcher in learning science. In A Mind for Numbers, she reveals the neuroscience behind how we learn and how to use it to master difficult subjects faster and more effectively. Her lessons go far beyond math. They apply to anything that requires deep understanding, from business to creative work. She writes, "Learning isn't about being smart. It's about using the right strategies." The two modes of thinking. Oakley explains that your brain has two main modes of thinking, the focused mode and the diffuse mode. Understanding how these two modes work and how to switch between them is the foundation of effective learning. The focused mode is what you use when you're concentrating hard, solving a math problem, studying a formula, or writing code. It's intense and narrow. The diffuse mode, on the other hand, activates when your mind is relaxed, like when you're taking a walk, showering, or daydreaming. It's broad and creative, allowing your brain to make new connections. Oakley writes, "You need both modes. Focused mode gets you into the problem. Diffuse mode helps you see the bigger picture. When you get stuck on a problem, it's often because your brain is trapped in focused mode. Taking a break, sleeping, or shifting to another task allows your diffuse mode to work in the background, and that's often when insights appear." The power of practice and spaced repetition. Oakley emphasizes that learning is like building muscle. Repetition strengthens neural connections, but rest between practice sessions is just as important. This is known as spaced repetition, reviewing material over increasing intervals to move knowledge from short-term to long-term memory. She writes, "Cramming might help you remember for a test, but it doesn't build true understanding. To learn effectively, practice a little every day. Review key concepts after a few hours, then after a few days, then after a week. Each review session reinforces memory and makes recall easier." She compares learning to laying bricks. Each brick represents a concept. You can't build a strong wall by piling all the bricks in one day. You need time for the foundation to set. The importance of sleep. Oakley calls sleep the secret weapon of learning. When you sleep, your brain clears out toxins, strengthens connections, and organizes new information. Studies show that reviewing material before bed dramatically improves retention. She writes, "Sleep is like hitting the save button on your brain. All-nighters might feel productive, but they actually make you forget more. To learn faster, prioritize consistent sleep. It's not a luxury, it's part of the process." Chunking. Building blocks of knowledge. One of the most powerful concepts in A Mind for Numbers is chunking, grouping bits of information into meaningful patterns. When you first learn something new, it feels overwhelming. But as you practice, individual facts and steps start to merge into a single mental chunk. That chunk becomes easier to recall and apply. For example, when learning to drive, you consciously think about every step: gear, pedals, mirrors, steering. But once you've practiced enough, it becomes automatic, one smooth chunk. Oakley explains, chunks are the building blocks of expertise. To create chunks effectively, focus on understanding the main idea first, then practice it in different contexts. Don't just memorize. Connect the concept to real-world examples. Overcoming procrastination. One of the biggest obstacles to learning isn't ability, it's procrastination. Oakley explains that procrastination isn't about laziness, it's about avoiding discomfort. When you sit down to study something challenging, your brain registers it as pain. The trick is to push through the initial resistance. Her favorite strategy is the Pomodoro technique: work for 25 minutes with full focus, then take a 5-minute break. After 4 rounds, take a longer break. This trains your brain to tolerate focus while rewarding it with rest. She writes, "Motivation doesn't come before action, it comes after. Once you start, momentum builds. The hardest part is beginning." The role of mistakes and struggle. Many people believe that struggling means they're bad at learning. Oakley argues the opposite. Struggle is a sign of growth. She writes, "The pain of learning is the feeling of your brain forming new connections. Mistakes are not setbacks, they're feedback. When you make an error and correct it, your brain rewires the pathway more effectively than if you'd gotten it right the first time." She encourages embracing what she calls desirable difficulty. Don't just reread notes, test yourself, explain concepts aloud, or solve problems without looking at the answer. The harder it feels, the deeper the learning. Avoiding illusions of competence. One of the most common traps in learning is thinking you know something when you don't. Oakley calls this the illusion of competence. You reread a chapter, recognize the words, and think you've learned it, but recognition is not recall. True understanding comes when you can retrieve the idea from memory and apply it. She writes, "You don't learn by looking at the path, you learn by walking it." To break this illusion, regularly test yourself without notes. Use active recall, flashcards, or teaching others. If you can't explain a concept clearly, you haven't mastered it yet. The value of persistence. Oakley's research shows that persistence is more important than intelligence. Many students give up too early because they assume difficulty means they're not capable. But the truth is, difficulty means you're learning. She writes, "The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is often the willingness to keep going when it's hard. Even short, consistent study sessions compound over time. 10 focused minutes every day beats 3 distracted hours once a week." The role of emotion and mindset. Your emotional state affects how you learn. Stress and anxiety narrow focus, while curiosity and confidence expand it. Oakley recommends approaching challenges with curiosity rather than fear. She writes, "A calm mind is a powerful learning tool. Practices like deep breathing, journaling, and positive visualization can help you stay focused and resilient during study." She also encourages adopting a growth mindset, the belief that ability is developed through effort. When you view challenges as opportunities, not threats, you unlock your potential to keep improving. The big takeaway. The message of A Mind for Numbers is both scientific and empowering. You don't need to be a math person or a science person to learn complex things. You just need to understand how your brain learns best and use it wisely. Learning is not about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's about switching between focused and diffuse modes, practicing deliberately, spacing your repetition, and embracing mistakes as part of growth. As Barbara Oakley writes, "Great learners aren't born. They're made one focused session at a time." That was A Mind for Numbers by Barbara Oakley, broken down into its most powerful lessons. Which of these ideas will you apply first? Chunking, spaced repetition, or the Pomodoro technique? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this summary, make sure to like this video, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly breakdowns of life-changing books. Remember, your brain is capable of far more than you think. You just have to learn how to use it.